Welcome to Revenue Growth Live with Daryl Amy. You're about to join an interactive forum where business executives, sales professionals, and marketing leaders share ideas to accelerate growth. While you are here, make sure to like or subscribe to get notifications for future episodes. You're encouraged to get involved in today's live conversation by liking and commenting. Now, let's join Daryl Amy for fresh ideas and innovative strategies to help you grow your business faster.
Future listeners. So, hey, I'm excited about our conversation today about predicting your innovation dividend. How do you calculate and forecast your return on innovation? This is something that's so critical right now because if you think about your company, you want to innovate, right? Jim Collins says every great company that he checked out does two things. They preserve the core, they got operational excellence, but they also catalyze, invent the future. And so, yes, we need to preserve the core, and there's lots of ways to measure operational excellence, but do you have a way to measure innovation? Well, my goal today is to give you a framework to measure innovation in your business. I call this your innovation dividend. Peter Drucker, the great guru of business, in his fantastic book, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, said, the purpose of a business is to create a customer. That's it. Therefore, a business has two and only two basic functions: marketing and innovation. Marketing and innovation produce results. All the rest is cost. Now, Drucker's pretty pointed in all of this, but as we think about this today, I hope you've got a way to measure your marketing effectiveness. And I hope you've got some frameworks in place to understand the effect of your marketing. That's not today's meeting. Today's meeting is to think about innovation. And lots of companies have a way to measure their marketing. And it's actually somewhat simple if you look at the end results. Innovation is a little more sophisticated. And I want to share with you a framework on how you can think about calculating your innovation dividend. Well, what is your innovation dividend? It's a really great question, because if I'm going to make an investment in something, if you're going to make an investment in something, one of the things you want to know is, what's my dividend going to be? What's my return on innovation going to be in my company? And the problem is, when we don't have a framework or mindset to calculate that, it's really hard to direct attention and investment to that. But when we do have a framework to measure our innovation or lack thereof, now it puts the spotlight on, okay, we need to figure out how we can innovate better. And we need to understand the efforts to intentionally innovate, what they are returning. Well, what is an innovation dividend? I believe an innovation dividend is the financial return on your company's investments and efforts to strategically innovate. This is your ROI, your return on innovation. What are you getting back for the efforts you're putting to strategically innovate? And this is really super critical to think about, because so many companies, Drucker says marketing and innovation drive an organization, but so many companies have just random acts of innovation. We hope our founder gets an idea. We hope that things happen, but hope is not a strategy. We know that. But until we can put our arms around the return on innovation, it's going to be hard to get mind share and investment in an organization. So I want to share with you 4 categories today. We'll build this model out, and then I want to share with you a practical way to get intentional about innovation in your business. Today, I want to think about the 4 ways innovation impacts a business. We're going to unpack each one of these individually, and then we'll show a full model that is in development. I'm glad my friend Jack is on the call today. He's a CPA. I know we're going to have some good calls about this. Also, see Lawson here. And Lawson, you're a true innovator, and I know we're going to have some great conversations about this as well as we flesh this model out. So what are the categories? Well, you see them right here. The 2 categories on the top are related to money, revenue growth. How is our innovation impacting the growth of our company on top line revenue? Profit growth. How are we impacting bottom line profit? The other 2 categories are related to people. How are we doing at retaining our customers? And how are we doing at engaging our employees? All of these are related in some way to innovation. So let's look at each one. Revenue growth. In my book, Revenue Growth Engine, we talk about the two ways to drive revenue growth. It's actually quite simple. Net new, add more customers. Cross sell, sell more to our current customers. The metrics for net new are really, really easy. How many customers do we have? Now, I hope you're tracking this, but if you're not, guess what? It's January. This is a great time to draw a line in the sand. On January 1, how many customers did you have? And then on February 1, how many customers did you have? Hope that number is growing. And over the months, quarters, and year, how many of those customers, let's say this year you add 100 new customers. Well, what of those 100 new customers, which of those 100 new customers can you attribute to your innovation? Well, let's say that your Strategic Innovation Council came up with and brought to market a new go-to-market strategy, and it introduced you into some brand new customers. And let's say of those 100 new customers that came on board, 30 of them were related to your innovation strategy. Well, we can count that as a return on innovation, top line revenue. Same thing with cross-sell. We measure that in revenue per customer. Well, Daryl, we don't track revenue per customer. You definitely should do this because this shows you how healthy your company is at cross-selling. And once again, January 1, great time to do this. What was our revenue divided by number of customers at the end of the year? You can track that over the year. And hopefully that number is growing. So let's say your revenue per customer right now is $7,500. And let's say by the end of the year, because of your innovation and your cross-sell activities, you've grown that revenue to say $10,000 per customer. Okay. Well, what percent of that, what part of that was related to innovation? Oh, this year, our Strategic Innovation Council brought to market a new service that's an add-on to our current customers. And we can attribute $1,000 of that revenue per customer to that new service. Okay, great. Now we're beginning to think about a framework for our return on innovation. Let's go to profit growth as well. Profit growth, we want to think about, and this slide needs to be corrected. So here I am at 4 p.m. doing a live stream. I want to put two things, gross margin and EBITDA, or net profit. What's our gross margin? Let's say the strategic innovation team innovates a new way to deliver the product, and it reduces your cost of goods sold. They create a new way to manufacture or produce your product, reduces your cost of goods sold, increases your margin. Let's say your strategic innovation team comes up with a better way to sell the product, a different approach to selling the product that results in less discounting and maybe even supports a higher price. Now we've raised our gross margin. Same thing on the operational side of your business. Your strategic innovation team might come up with a way to leverage AI to drive more productivity. And now your operation cost for your business ends up decreasing. We've now leveraged innovation for gross margin and net profit as well. And I'm going to show you a model on this as we go through. Now, as we're doing this, now keep in mind, not every innovation is going to touch all four of these quadrants. Some of them will. But what we want to do is think about the innovations that we bring to market inside our companies and how are they impacting revenue and profit, but also how are they doing at impacting customer retention. I hope you're measuring this. Once again, it's January. This is a great time to start. What's your customer retention? Every company has issues at some point with customer retention. So the question is, why are customers leaving? Can we innovate to figure out ways to keep them around or even win them back? Customer retention. I want to know how well are we doing at retaining our customers. So that's going to be a simple metric of how many customers left. And also I want to know how well we are doing at actually engaging with our customers. Like, are they actual cheerleaders? You could measure referrals, references, find some way to attribute and measure customer satisfaction or retention around this. It's going to be different for every business. Last is employee engagement. Employee engagement. Why do we bring this into the conversation? Well, let's face it. First of all, employee engagement is terrible. And when we look at our employees, especially in operational focused companies, our employees that have working geniuses like wonder and invention, your classic ideation type of people, employee engagement's really low. So what's our turnover look like? What's our turnover look like? And how could an innovative culture at our companies increase our turnover? But also, what's our revenue per employee? And this one is some nice hard math right here. Because the idea is if we're innovating, especially around our internal operations and our go-to-market strategy, our ability to sell at higher prices, we should be able to measure that in terms of revenue per employee. And to me, this is and my friends that are EOS implementers, I ask them a lot about scorecards in the EOS world, Entrepreneur's Operating System, as discussed in the book Traction. I know many of you on this call use that or very familiar with it. One of the things we need on our scorecards is revenue per employee. Well, these are categories and measurables that we can use to calculate our return on innovation. So we want to think from a financial side, how are our innovations impacting revenue and profit? And on the people side, how are they impacting our customer retention and also our employee engagement? Now, I got a spreadsheet warning. I know some of you are going to jump up and down and be so excited, but I started to model this out. And this is the beginning of a model that will be worked on and can be customized for different companies. Let me just make this. There we go. So what you see here, and once again, it's brutal to show a spreadsheet during a live stream. I promise this will be the only one I show. But what you see here is these 4 categories across the top. And you see 2023, where were we last year? 2024, where do we want to be this year? Or what are the actual numbers, forecast or actual? And this is where we look at, the number of new customers on the right, number of employees on the left. And now we look at the, practical side of this. We added 250 customers in 2024 in this forecast. We increased our revenue per customer from $7,500 to $9,000, a net increase of $1,500 per customer. We increased our gross profit by 4% as a company and our EBITDA by 2.5%. And let's say we increased our customer retention, number of referrals, decreased our turnover, and increased our revenue per employee. These are all just hypotheticals. What we then want to ask, so those are the results of the company. And you go, well, Daryl, you can't attribute all of those results to innovation. You're absolutely right. Look, you've got an operations team that's working to make the company excellent. You've got a sales and marketing team that is out there trying to drive more revenue and profitability. You've got your finance team that's doing the same thing. So what we do is we take the total results in each one of these areas, and then we begin to look at our innovations. Now, let's say this hypothetical company brought 3 innovations to market in 2024. They came up with a new product, a new go-to-market strategy, and they came up with a new way to integrate AI in their support center. So that new product, well, it was a product that was an upsell to current customers. And of that $1,500 per customer increase, we can confidently attribute $1,000 of that increase in revenue per customer to that particular new product. Great. It also drove up gross profit, and we can attribute 2% of our 4% profit growth as a company to that, and flowed through to the bottom line because of the delivery costs. You see where we're going here? Now, this is going to take a bit of math, and that's why we want to get your financial people engaged in thinking about this model. But imagine having your financial people engaged and thinking about this. This starts to make the connection on, hey, innovation, just as Drucker said, drives revenue, profit, customer retention, and employee engagement. Let's invest in this. Let's get strategic about innovation. Second thing, a go-to-market strategy on that innovation number two. Well, it had a net result of 100 net new customers. Did it increase employee retention, turnover, revenue per employee? Maybe not. Maybe it was just that metric that innovation was responsible for. The innovation number three, the AI integration in the support center, let's say that drove efficiencies, which drove up your revenue per employee and also made the job easier to do, which helped contribute to a decrease in turnover, driving profit, and also creating a better customer experience. All hypothetical. But now what we're doing is saying, here are all the metrics for the company. Now we filtered that out to the total impact of these innovations. It resulted in 100 new customers. It resulted in $1,000 increase in revenue per customer. And you can go across gross profit increased by 2%, EBITDA by 2%, customer retention, referrals, etc. So what we're doing here is we're thinking about, and this is going to be different for every company, but we're thinking in these four categories. How can we track these categories as a company? Step one. Step two, what in each of those categories can we attribute to an innovation? And this is where we want to begin to calculate and forecast our return on innovation, our innovation dividend. Now, as we're doing this, now we have a reason and a motivation to get strategic about innovation. And as you're thinking about this, I know what I've just showed is going to prompt lots of questions and discussion. So I look forward to that. We're going to build on this model. We're going to hone it for different operating environments. But I want you to begin to get clear about what's our return on innovation. Now, as you're thinking about your return on innovation, now we've got to think about, okay, well, what would happen if we got intentional about innovation? Sadly, for most companies, they survive or just kind of limp along on random acts of innovation. We know random acts of innovation are going to not really deliver. You might get a result if you're lucky. But the reality is, in companies that don't have structure, systems, and a scorecard for innovation, it's just kind of potluck. And hope is not a strategy, hoping that there's going to be innovation. So how do we drive an innovation dividend? Well, I want to share 4 steps to do that in the remaining time that we have. I want to share with you how to identify people that have innovative gifts in your company, how to engage them in ideating new ideas, how to take those ideas and actually investigate them, pilot them, optimize them, package them. We don't want to just drop an idea onto our operations team. We actually want to make sure that idea is validated. And, of any ideas, one of them is going to be great. One of them might take more time. And one, might be a terrible idea to go in the dustbin of what did we learn? So there is a way to get intentional now integrating that into the business. And so how would you do that? I want to run through this really quickly. First, identify people in your business that have gifts of innovation. And they're not all in the C-suite. They're scattered throughout your company. They're close to the customer. Working Genius is a model of Patrick Lencioni's. I've been in certification all day. I thought I knew it. I'm discovering so much brilliance in this model. The point is, you've got people in your company with the working genius, the gifting of wonder. I wonder if there's a better way to do that. Invention. I got 5 ideas. Discernment. Well, 2 of those might be doable. These are the people we need to identify, and we need to put them in a council, a strategic innovation council. Now, we unpack this more in other presentations, and you can go back through our Livestream library and look and see this unpacked as we flip an accountability chart on its side. And on the right, go, okay, we got a bunch of people preserving the core in our integration team. Excellent. We need that. But over on the left, we need someone that is stimulating progress. And in a lot of companies, the visionary or the founder is kind of sitting out there by him or herself. Let's take some of these wonder, invention, and discernment people. And I see Lawson's a WD, I'm an IW. And let's put them on a strategic innovation council to figure out how we can drive more revenue, profit, employee engagement, and customer satisfaction, customer retention. How do we do that? Well, we ideate. Ideation is getting together with a structured process to ideate from the perspective of the customer. I like to call this customer focused innovation. Look, if you're a financial services firm or you're a nonprofit that provides technology, you don't need to innovate to create a self driving hovercraft. That's not helpful. You need to innovate in areas that are relevant to the customer. In last week's live stream, we highlighted the jobs to be done theory by Clay Christensen. Basically, Clay says, hey, people don't buy your products and services, they hire them for a job to be done. Well, let's get these people on the Strategic Innovation Council who are close to the customer, thinking about the jobs to be done that your customers want and how you could satisfy those needs. But it's not just coming up with the ideas. Ideas are great, but ideas need to be investigated, or you could say they need to be validated. And you need systems and tools to validate these ideas, to pilot them, to optimize them, to package them up. And then, and only then, are they ready to integrate. We can hand them off to our integration team, to our operations people, and they're packaged up in a format ready to implement. For my friends that use EOS to run their company, we would call that a rock. You might call that a project. The idea is you don't want to just have some unvalidated idea. You want an idea, an innovation that's been tested, piloted, optimized, packaged up, ready to hand off to the implementation team to make a part of your business. And when you do this, what you do is you begin to get intentional about innovation. You begin to set the structure, the organizational structure, your innovation council, the systems, your quarterly innovation focus day, and your ability to take those innovations and pilot, optimize, and package them, and your scorecard, what we're talking about here today with your innovation dividend. And you're able to actually say, yep, we're intentional about innovation. Last 2 weeks ago, I'm still bitter. I'm a Cowboys fan. And we had a rough time, as we always do, it seems, in the playoffs. And at the halftime show, Jimmy Johnson he got really, really fired up. And he said, if I were delivering the halftime show, here's what I would say. It was brilliant. If you didn't see it, you need to Google it and go watch the video. But something that he said during that rant and shortly after the rant actually is, are you playing to win the game or are you playing not to lose? Are you playing to win the game or are you playing not to lose? Look, if you're a company that is strategically innovating, you're putting your best minds, your wonder, invention, and discernment people together in a structure with the system, with the tools, with the scorecard. You're taking those people and you're intentionally innovating. I would say that you are playing to win because you're recognizing that what got you where you are today with your competitive advantage is going to become table stakes tomorrow. So you got to keep moving forward. You're playing to win. If all you're doing is doubling down on operations, and don't hear me wrong, operational excellence is critical for an organization. But if that's where all your chips are, I would submit to you that maybe you're playing not to lose. And maybe it's time to slide some of that effort over to strategically innovating for your business. And why would you do that? Well, you understand that you've got an innovation dividend and you've got a return on innovation. And we've laid out a framework today to think about those 4 categories: revenue growth, profit growth, customer retention, employee engagement. What metrics can you put on each one of those in your business? If you don't have them already, I challenge you to get that settled right here in January. And then at the end of the year, what can you attribute in each one of those metrics to innovations that you rolled out? When you do that, you'll be able to calculate your return on innovation. So thanks for joining me for this conversation today. I know I've opened Pandora's box of questions. Happy to have further conversations with you about how this could look in your organization. And if you're wondering, hey, Daryl, how could we get strategic about innovation? I'm glad you asked. I invite you to message me if you don't have this already for my Visionary's Guide to Unleashing Strategic Innovation. And in this document, we share the framework that I overviewed at the end of this call on how to identify the innovators in your company, how to innovate and ideate, how to investigate those ideas, and how to get them ready for implementation. Just drop me a message in the chat or in my message center, and I'll get you a copy of this brand new document, How to Unleash Strategic Innovation in Your Business. So thank you so much for joining me today. Apologies for the technical difficulties with the audio at the beginning. We'll crop this out for our future listeners. And as I say at the end of every Revenue Growth live stream or podcast, let's do this. Let's get going and let's get growing.